The first spark, arrogance of the invaders. The tavern of Koreth Prime was a hive of noise, heat, and smug laughter. The air reeked of spiced alcohol and burning incense. Around the central fire pit, alien mercenaries slammed their claws against the table as a Kelthari officer stood tall, chest swollen with pride. "Humans," the officer sneered, "they bleed like any other prey. Their colonies are soft, their fleets slow, their diplomats arrogant in their belief of peace." The others roared with laughter. They had reason, or so they thought. Just a cycle ago, their coalition fleet had descended upon a human colony at the edge of the Orion Arm. Orbital defenses had been stripped apart in minutes. Civilians dragged screaming from shelters. The Kelthari broadcast the footage across the sector, a warning that even Earth's children could be culled without consequence. In that bar, tales of slaughter rolled like gambling dice. We made them beg. They prayed to invisible gods as our cannons burned their skis. Their envoy, what did he say before we slit his throat? Something about Earth not forgetting. Laughter again. No one noticed the human seated at the far end of the room. His glass remained untouched, eyes shadowed. He listened. He remembered. A chorus of mockery. Boasts grew louder. Songs were sung about the fall of the weak Terrans. Merchants toasted to profits earned from selling scavenged human tech. Even officers of rival species joined the derision. "Earth is too civilized to respond," one drawled. "They hide behind councils and treaties. They can't even survive on half the worlds we thrive upon." Every word dripped with confidence that humanity's silence was fear. But silence for humans has never meant weakness. Silence is memory. Silence is breath held before the storm. The lone man in the corner finally raised his glass, not to drink, but to mutter a sentence that cut through the laughter like a blade. "You think silence means mercy. You have no idea what it means." The bar quieted for a moment, puzzled glances cast at him. Then the laughter resumed. No one noticed him leave. No one wondered why the comms arrays across the sector flickered, as if someone had whispered a signal into the void. The silence breaks. 3 days later, the first message arrived. It wasn't a declaration. It wasn't a demand. It was a recording. The voice was cold, steady, and unmistakably human. "We heard you, we remember." Then came the sound, at first faint, like thunder beyond the horizon, then louder, the unmistakable rumble of engines, not one but thousands. The message ended with silence, but every listening station reported the same anomaly, stars blotting out in formation as if night itself were moving. The humans had mobilized. From the Uit defense lines, dreadnoughts slid free from ice-sheathed docks. Carrier groups emerged from Saul's shadow, hulls glinting with 1,000 scars of old wars. The Terran Legion, the soldiers who trained on worlds others called uninhabitable, marched in silence into transports, their faces unreadable behind black visors. What began as a whisper spread as panic. The coalition who had mocked Earth now realized what was coming, not retaliation, not justice, vengeance. The storm of retribution. The first world to fall was Yekrith. Once a proud bastion of Kelthari power, it vanished beneath human bombardment in a single night. Orbital defense platforms melted like wax before precision strikes. Fleets that had mocked humanity, outdated weapons, found themselves erased by weapons they didn't even see fired. The second was Dorash, a fortress planet said to be impregnable. The humans didn't attack with fleets. They landed soldiers. Men and women forged on Earth's death worlds, jungles that suffocate, deserts that burn, tundras that freeze. The defenders broke within hours. Survivors whispered the humans moved like storms, silent, merciless, absolute. Every battle was the same: swift annihilation, then silence. No boasts, no celebrations, only the grim efficiency of a species that had once torn itself apart in centuries of war and now turned that fury outward. The galaxy realized too late that humanity's greatest weapon was not its fleets, not its soldiers, not its technology. It was memory. They never forgot an atrocity, and when the time came, they answered with a scale that seemed biblical. Fleets that blotted out suns. Reports spread like wildfire. Entire stars disappearing under the shadows of human dreadnoughts. Comms channels filled not with taunts, but with a single warning repeated in hundreds of languages. Do not resist, humanity remembers. When humans spoke, it wasn't with rage, it was with finality. Their vengeance was not hot and reckless. It was cold, calculated, infinite. Witnesses described fleets so vast they resembled migrating galaxies, their hulls gleaming like shards of midnight. Orbital strikes fell with the weight of judgment, whole continents lit in firestorms visible from space. The galaxy, so used to boasting, so used to arrogance, now learned what true silence meant, the silence after everything you knew had been erased. The bar falls silent. Back on Koreth Prime, the bar once filled with mocking laughter now sat in utter quiet. Survivors who had once bragged of slaughter now stared into their drinks, haunted by reports flowing in. A lizard-skinned captain whispered, "They burned Dorash, no survivors." A trader added, "Yekrith is gone, the entire planet." No one sang, no one laughed. The human who had once sat in the corner returned, not in body but in story. His words echoed in every mind. "You think silence means mercy." Now they understood. Silence meant humanity had listened. Silence meant vengeance was already moving. Silence meant the storm was at hand. The last whisper, dread eternal. The coalition that once mocked Earth was shattered. Survivors scattered, refusing even to speak the word Terran. Fleets disbanded, generals executed, worlds abandoned. But the war stories spread. Every bar, every station, every council hall repeated them. The tale of how humans descended like judgment, how they struck without pause, without compromise, without hesitation, how every act of cruelty was repaid 1,000-fold. And above all, the final whisper: never provoke Earth again. The galaxy learned patience in humans is vast. They will wait, they will watch, but if provoked, their vengeance is infinite. In the ruins of burned worlds, in the silence of conquered space, one truth endured like scripture. Human war stories do not end in laughter, they end in silence.